Imagine walking down an ordinary street, stopping to buy a simple snack, and suddenly realizing the person preparing it is one of Asia's most recognizable actresses. This is not a scene from a drama, but a real moment that recently went viral online. Zhao Lusi, widely known for her leading roles in hit Chinese dramas, was spotted selling handmade pancakes at a small roadside stall. No stage lights, no red carpet, no entourage. Just a quiet street and a surprising encounter. Within seconds, what seemed like a normal purchase turned into an unforgettable memory, leaving passers-by shocked, emotional, and completely unprepared for what they had just witnessed. At first glance, there was nothing unusual about the setting. A small food stall stood quietly along the roadside, serving freshly made egg pancakes to passing customers. There were no banners, no promotional signs, and no indication that this moment would soon capture public attention. The young woman behind the stall wore casual clothes, focused on preparing each order with care. To anyone passing by, it appeared to be an ordinary street vendor doing an honest day's work. Yet this sense of normalcy was exactly what made the encounter so remarkable, setting the stage for a discovery that no one there was expecting. As people waited quietly for their food, a subtle shift began to take place. Attention lingered a little longer than usual. Someone noticed her voice, soft, clear, and strangely recognizable. Another person focused on her facial expressions, the gentle smile and natural ease that felt familiar from countless screen moments. Gradually, curiosity spread among those nearby. No one spoke openly at first, yet the question seemed to circulate silently. Why does she look so familiar? The setting made the thought difficult to accept. This was a simple roadside stall, far removed from film sets or public appearances. Still, the resemblance was impossible to ignore. A few phones were raised cautiously, not with excitement, but with hesitation, as if confirming a suspicion rather than chasing a spectacle. With every passing second, the sense of doubt deepened. What began as a fleeting observation slowly turned into collective awareness, the feeling that something extraordinary might be hidden within an otherwise ordinary moment. The realization did not arrive suddenly, but when it did, it was undeniable. There was no formal confirmation, no dramatic announcement to mark the moment. Instead, certainty emerged through a series of familiar details: the unmistakable warmth in her expression, the calm confidence in her movements, and the ease with which she responded to the growing attention around her. At that point, hesitation disappeared. The woman behind the stall was indeed Zhao Lusi. The actress, known to millions for her leading roles in popular Chinese dramas, was standing in an unassuming street setting, focused on something as ordinary as preparing pancakes. For those present, the contrast was striking. The environment was quiet and unremarkable, yet the realization carried a powerful emotional impact. Some people stood frozen. Others instinctively covered their mouths, struggling to process the unexpected proximity. In that brief pause, the distance between celebrity and everyday life seemed to dissolve. The shock was not rooted in disbelief alone, but in the sudden awareness that someone so widely admired could exist so naturally within such a simple moment. What followed was not chaos, but silence, the kind that accompanies genuine astonishment. As the initial shock settled, the atmosphere shifted into something unexpectedly warm. Zhao Lusi did not retreat from the attention or attempt to reshape the moment. She remained where she was, calmly preparing food and engaging with those around her in a natural, unhurried manner. Each interaction felt effortless. A pancake handed over with care, a brief exchange of words, a soft smile. These simple gestures carried a weight far greater than their appearance. For the people present, this was no longer about encountering a celebrity. It became a moment of shared humanity. The absence of formality dissolved the invisible boundary that usually separates public figures from everyday life. In that space, Zhao Lusi appeared not as a distant star, but as someone fully present and approachable. The joy that followed was quiet rather than overwhelming, rooted in sincerity rather than excitement. Long after the brief encounter ended, that feeling lingered, not as a dramatic memory, but as a gentle reminder that genuine connection can emerge in the most unexpected places. When the footage began circulating online, the response was swift and far-reaching. Short clips of Zhao Lusi working at the roadside stall quickly spread across multiple platforms, drawing attention from fans and general audiences alike. Viewers expressed a mix of disbelief and admiration, many noting how natural and unguarded she appeared. Comment sections filled with reactions, describing the moment as comforting rather than sensational. Across different regions, people echoed a similar sentiment. What stood out was not the surprise of seeing a celebrity, but the sincerity of her behavior. In contrast to carefully staged public appearances, this encounter felt unscripted and genuine. Some users reflected on how rare it has become to witness public figures blending so seamlessly into everyday life. Others shared personal stories, imagining themselves in the same situation and questioning how they might have reacted. Through online discussion, a brief street interaction evolved into a shared emotional experience, demonstrating how authenticity, when captured and shared, can resonate far beyond its original context. Beyond its viral impact, this moment carried a deeper significance that resonated strongly with global audiences. At its core, it reflected a rare authenticity in an era dominated by curated images and calculated appearances. Zhao Lusi's presence at a roadside stall was not framed as a promotional gesture, nor was it amplified through spectacle. Instead, it unfolded quietly, grounded in everyday reality. This simplicity allowed viewers to see a public figure without the usual layers of performance or distance. For many, the scene challenged conventional expectations of celebrity behavior, offering a reminder that fame does not inherently require separation from ordinary life. The emotional response stemmed not from admiration alone, but from recognition, the sense that genuine humility and presence still hold value. In a media landscape often driven by exaggeration, this understated encounter stood out precisely because it felt real, reinforcing the idea that meaningful connections are often formed through the most unremarkable moments. In the end, this story was never just about a celebrity sighting. It was about how an ordinary moment, unfolding without intention or spectacle, could leave a lasting emotional imprint. A quiet street, a small food stall, and a familiar face came together to create something unexpectedly meaningful. Zhao Lusi's presence reminded many that connection does not require grand gestures, only sincerity and presence. Long after the video stopped playing and the online discussions faded, what remained was a shared feeling, one of warmth, closeness, and recognition. In a world driven by constant noise and performance, this brief encounter stood as a gentle reminder that the most memorable moments are often the simplest ones.